Welcome, retailers, to our Tuesday edition of the GTS Retailer to Publisher webinar. I'm Scott Bohr, your category manager for gaming specialty products, which includes miniatures, role-playing games, and gaming accessories like dice, dice bags, dice trays, all the fun stuff that enhances your gaming experience. That's my purview. And today we have a very special webinar. We're joined by Yannis Krommydas from Para-Bellum to talk about the Conquest Last Argument of Kings miniatures game. Today, as attendees, you have a special opportunity to get an additional discount, 52% off on the Dwegom characters for the game. This is a new faction that's just released. So it's kind of like their analog to dwarves, and they're a pretty exciting group of people. I mean, pretty amazing powers and abilities. And we want to make sure that you know that that offer runs through this week for people who are attending the webinar. And that's the setup we've got right now. I do want to go ahead and hand things over to Yannis to talk about Conquest and all the excitement around the game.
Okay, thank you very much, Scott. Thank you for joining the webinar. My name is Yannis Krommydas. I'm the Sales and Marketing Director for Para-Bellum War Games. Bit to mention the structure of what we're going to go over. I want to speak about what is Conquest and why us, in essence. What is the future of Conquest? So what is the outlook and what we have in planning? The retailer support, what we offer to retailers to support sales and to support growing communities in your environments, and stock offers, which includes bundles, etc., which we'll all go through. So let me start sharing a bit my screen as well so that you can start seeing everything. Okay, I'm hoping you can see my screen right now. So can you?
It hasn't come through yet.
It doesn't come through yet. Try it again. Is it going through now? Yeah, share. Okay, let's see. Are we sharing? We're sharing now. Awesome. Okay, can you all see my screen? Scott, can you see it?
Yes, I can see it now. You're all good.
Okay, good to go. Okay, so Conquest. Conquest is a brand new game. Just came out in July. What we are aiming to do is introduce a full plastic range miniature war game with unique aesthetics and with our own development regarding world building, background stories, the whole shenanigans that you need to actually support the game. This is the result is the efforts of many people who've worked in the past in the industry, including role-playing games, trading card games, and miniature games. And we've come together to create what we wanted to see as an alternate war game out there, which is available to gamers who want a rank and file type game. This has been structured, though, in a way to keep in mind organized play, keep in mind end customers' budget and space within the retailer's store. As you can see here, I mentioned, we have a modern rule set. This is a game that plays quite quickly. It plays in an hour 20 minutes max, a 2,000-point game. It has unique mechanisms, including using actively cards in the game. So they're not a reference point, the cards are an actual mechanic of the game, which makes it a lot more dynamic, and also obviously for you guys means associated sales regarding card protectors and what have you. We've already released 4 factions. And we're going to be populating those factions in order to make sure that people have enough variety within them to start doing gaming, which is really important in this type of environment, and start doing tournaments, which is the end goal for most players. But having said that, we do not want to abandon people who want like either story-driven or campaign-driven game, and we're going to be introducing many of that type of organized play incentives and initiatives in order to get people excited and they play their style of game. But the most important thing is why us? We are a new company. Obviously, you have to bear with us before we populate the entirety of the world that we're creating. We have a very solid rule set in order to do that, but we have to release the miniatures, and we can't release everything in one go, and you obviously understand that. We cannot imagine in this industry right now, it's dominated by a single company. Almost over 95% of the market belongs to one company, which we all know, and they make wonderful miniatures. They have a great world that they've created, but they do operate borderline monopoly. And we want to offer as much as possible the same package to the end customer and give them an option. Give them an alternative both to the end customer and to you as a retailer. In many conversations I've had with retailers that I've known or that I've met, they cannot imagine their store being mono one card game. So the question is, why be mono one miniature game? Obviously, there are other miniature ranges out there, but at this point, obviously, I think Conquest is the best, in my opinion. But it needs time to develop so that you can see that the critical mass is hit. The future of Conquest, and while we're talking, I can also show you some of the photos. Let me show you of the product, because some of you might know nothing of the game. Let's go. This is our core set. Let's load it. So this is the core set. This is the main box that we've released, which is the 2-player starter set. And it includes enough for 2 players to get started and playing off the bat. It's a full plastic box. It contains 72 miniatures. It's roughly 1,000 points for each side, including upgrades and the characters. It contains the rule book, the dice, everything practically they need to start with. And it retails at the price of $85, which is a very competitive price point for 2 people to start. And that's our intent. This is a classic Trojan horse. Let's get them in. We've taken away the objection of price point for you. So it's an easy obstacle to overcome. And they can get into the game quite quickly, 2 people, which is the important thing. Now, having said that, let me show you some of the contents up close. So at the 72 miniatures, we also include this guy. So this guy is actually counted as a single miniature. It's a huge miniature. It's about 7 inches tall, full plastic, full posable. One of the things we wanted to maintain is for elite units and monsters to keep posability, something that we see go away in this market at this point. You see single pose miniatures. And we want to offer, especially for elite and monsters, the ability of posing them more dynamically. So adhere a bit to the modeler of the hobby, because there's quite a few people that's their hobby, it's putting together, or it increases the enjoyment of the game. Similarly, we have on the other side, for the 100 Kingdoms, which are the 2 first factions, we have miniatures like these guys here, which are called the Steel Legion. We have, let me see, if I can zoom it in. For some reason it's not letting me, there we go. So we have high detailed knights. These are all in hard plastic. Posable as well, many options for heads. In general, we've tried to make it as beautiful as possible, because it's the aesthetics that's going to win through, especially in the beginning phases. But also in general, people love their minis to be good looking, whether they're good painters or not. Now let me showcase a bit the Dwagum, and then I can tell you a bit about the future of our game. And now, let's go. Let me show you the Infernal Automata. Now, this is another unit which we're releasing, which we've already released. These are the Infernal Automata. All of these have their own story. We've developed the archetypes, which everybody knows. So we have elves, we have humans, we have dwarves. Later on, we're going to have orcs. But we've all put a spin on them, which is important because it's one of the driving forces for people getting involved in the game. It's what is it? Why am I playing this model? What does this do? And these are the Infernal Automata, which their background story is that the Dwagum actually use fire magic. They're almost elemental. And they actually make statues made out of metal and stone and animate them using fire magic to fight for them. So everything has its own storyline, its background story, its lineage, and it all connects to each other. And we have already released 4 novellas on our website, which I can show you right here. Let's go to the United States, for example. Okay. Now, in the What's New tab of our website, you'll be able to see there's a lot of content out there. There's art reveals, there's spotlights for specific characters and units we've released. There's offers, there's videos. So there's a lot of content, but we've actually gathered all of that for you in another place, and I'll mention later. These are some of, for example, of the novellas. They're all available out there, and you can pick them up, share them with your customers. They're all available for you. So we're giving you a lot of tools to use to captivate different type of end customers. Now, the future of Conquest. Conquest will eventually have 18 factions. That's the whole plan. Within the first 3 years, the plan is to have 8 factions fully fleshed out. So about 20 units for each. This includes the archetype of the orcs, the archetype of the undead, wood elves, but everything with a spin. Nothing is as it seemed in the world of Conquest. And we wanted to do that because it has to be unique. Why buy the copy when you can buy the original type of thing? So we have to be original. We have to convince the end customer that this is worth their time and their money. But most importantly, it's their time, because that's what we're fighting for. We're fighting for their time assembling, painting, reading up on rules. You can see some of the art here, by the way, as I'm speaking. And it has to excite them and not be a copy of something else. We focus quite heavily on art because that's the first thing they're going to see and associate with their miniatures. And every art piece tells a story. For example, on your, as you see the screen on your left, you can see a dwarf lord, a dragon lord, sitting in the midst of a keep. And in the back, you can see an eye. That eye is actually of a captured dragon, because these guys absolutely despise dragons. And it's part of the tradition in that keep that every lord, in order to ascend, he has to take a big hammer and go and hit it in the eye, because they enjoy inflicting pain on what used to be their tormentors and their masters. So there's a lot of hooks to get people captivated and engaged with whatever faction they pick. It's the most important thing, along with the quality of the miniatures, that storyline, and visually or in writing, putting that story is what drives sales in games like this, at least in our opinion. Obviously, there's people that just like reading the rules and rolling the dice with you, but we have good rules for them as well. So we haven't left them out. They're good. They're good. Now, as I said, there's going to be 18 factions, but also we're going to be doing spin-off games in the future. The first one being, which is now in development, which is a dungeon crawling game. We want to develop more the background of the world, introduce as sneak peeks certain new ranges of miniatures. So for example, if we release Before the Undead, it might contain undead miniatures, which are unreleased at that point. And the intent is to make sure that the dungeon crawling game can borrow miniatures from the main game, and from the dungeon crawling, you can pass over your miniatures to use in Conquest as well. So we always want that association. Whatever product we come out with, we want you to be able to use miniatures from one game system to the other, so that whether you play the dungeon crawler or the arena game we're going to be releasing, or the siege game we're going to be releasing, you're basically playing another part of Conquest, and the rules are so familiar that you can jump from one to the other without spending a lot of time reading. And that's the enticing thing, especially as people fear when they hear about a mass battle game, which is a regimental scale, that they're going to be needing so many miniatures. But if they escalate them slowly, they'll never realize they already have an army, and they'll be more than happy to play the regimental scale. The reason why, and this is the question which we get, so some of you might have had it as well, and I'm answering it now. We started with mass battle because it's always easier to scale down than to scale up. In many cases in the past, whenever a company has started with a skirmish or loose formation game and has tried to go to mass battle, it usually failed massively, because there was always that resistance of, I've bought into this game because of this. But going from a mass battle to a smaller scale is always easier to do. Now, retailer support. I don't know if Scott, if we should do if you guys have any Q&A, or if I should continue with retailer support. It's up to you.
At this point, there haven't been any questions added to the chat, so I think we're in a good place to go ahead and talk to the subject of retailer support. Maybe that'll generate some questions there.
Great. Okay, so retailer support. Now, we have a lot of different schemes which we want you to take advantage of if you haven't already. Now, one of the things that we're going to be doing, and we've already started, is the ambassador program, or the Vanguard program, as we say. This is a initiative where we ask you to suggest a customer or an employee of yours who's really into miniature gaming and is interested in Conquest, obviously, to act as our ambassador into your store. His role will be to do events once per week, once every 2 weeks, to create a social media platform, to communicate events in your store regarding Conquest, to share photos, to be the judge for tournaments, and to be the focal point where they can recruit more people into the game, and make sure that there's always a +1 when somebody comes in the store and wants to play, which is really important in the beginning phase. We reward these guys with both miniatures on a monthly basis and with, let's say, collectibles and promos that we're going to be having only for the Vanguards or only for organized play. So they will get something special, and they will also act as our in-betweens when it comes to managing certain other campaign systems, reporting, all that stuff, which we recognize that you guys being retailers don't necessarily have the time to do it. So that's the whole point of this program. And if you do have somebody like that in your store and you haven't poked him to contact us, then certainly do so. It's very good for you. And most of them really like being at the ground level of a new game. So it's a good opportunity for them as well. Now, organized play. Organized play, our intent is to start obviously slow. We need to escalate this. It can't immediately go straight into massive tournaments. I wish we had that type of audience, but no new game has it. We're going to be slowly escalating, starting with Vanguards, doing smaller tournaments, 1,000 points, 1,500 points. We always give them guidelines on what to do and how to escalate the games. Then there's going to be campaign systems, some developed by us, some already developed by Vanguards, which are in contact with us, and they're going to be sending them to us. Story-driven, so we're going to be expanding novels. We're going to be writing novels based on the campaign we want people to run, so there's a descriptive text for them to follow in their battles as well, and their army selections. And then we've already announced, for example, our first tournament at Adepticon. It's a small tournament. We put it up for 20 people. Obviously, we have no idea what the follow through is going to be on that one. And we've announced this is going to be a casual tournament because it's quite early on. There's going to be gift bags and pizzas, basically, and please have fun. Because with 4 factions and about 4 to 5 units for each, you don't have enough variety to have a hardcore tournament. And at this point, we want to meet the community and for them to understand that even though we're talking about tournaments and organized play, our let's say, outwards intent is to have it friendly. We want a good community. We don't want a community that's cutthroat and all they care about is tournament prizes. So we'll see how we manage that. But after that, we're going to be launching a platform where stores, basically Vanguard the stores, are going to be reporting their weekly tournaments or their monthly tournaments where players can see what their stats are. People love doing that. People love seeing, am I the best in my town? Am I the best in my region? Oh, I'm ranking 5th in Florida. Good for you. There might be 10 players in the beginning, but hey, good for you. And as that grows, people will value it even more. Then there's going to be regional tournaments, countrywide tournaments, and a world tournament where our intent is to get people who qualified in different tournaments and fly them to a destination where we're going to be running our final World Cup type of thing. The other thing which we have, which we're going to be launching in a few weeks, but I'm going to be able to show you some photos of it. We're launching a retailer support site. Now, the purpose of this, and this is a screenshot, is to make sure that anything you as the retailer needs is going to be in an easy to find spot. You don't want to navigate my website between banners dropping down and fluff and oh, here's an offer and the link to the eShop. You want to find what you need now. You want to find all the information for the organized play, for the products, resources. You just need to log in and it's all there. We're going to be launching it, I believe, early next week, might also be by the end of this week. And we're going to be sharing that link with our distributors to follow through and make sure that it's shared with you. But also keep in mind, we're going to be announcing on our social media and our website as well. So if you're following that, you'll get the poke from it as well. Now, this will include everything from, there we go, information about Vanguard program and who to contact. It will contain information about, here we go, where you can find promotional material, the faction specific, the short stories, everything I mentioned before being on our website. It's going to be easily available for you guys to share in your social media or embed in our website, including videos. Everything's going to be there. If you want to register for a store finder, you just go in there, which is really important, by the way, because we're a European company based, which means that we have a data protection law, which means that unless you guys register on your own, we cannot take from a distributor the contact information, share it online. So please, if you're stocking Conquest and if you're here, you're probably thinking about it already are, do register the store finder. It's important. The other thing which we are doing for retail support is we're doing online advertising and outreach. Now, this includes our collaboration with On Tabletop, which is ex-Beast of War. This includes Mini War Gaming, where we're planning to do videos with them in March and seeing about having a champion in the Mini War Gaming doing videos for us. This is something that will take time. And the other thing is the Bell of Lost Souls, which we're going to be doing the same thing. And the other thing which we're doing is YouTube ads based on zip codes. So we've already asked, for example, from GTS to share zip codes of people stocking the product, and we're going to be focusing on them to actually create extra excitement in your area where we know there's a hub that people can go and play to. Now, sorry for taking a break. I need to plug in my computer. Sorry for getting out of the screen, but it's going to be an embarrassing moment when it switches off. There we go. Okay, there we go. So it changes a bit the posing, but it's okay. We're still here. So now, what else do we have? And the final thing which we're going to be doing to support stores is stock offers. Now, already out there, and GTS has communicated this with you guys, we have a Nord bundle. The Nord bundle is an opportunity, and we're going to be doing that quite often as well with other bundles, to stock the new releases with an extra discount. And we want to do that a lot more often because obviously we understand that stocking enough product is a risk for everybody. To give you extra discount, and also that will allow you to compete with online discounting, which they all do. A 10, 20% is almost a standard thing. So by you having certain SKUs provided to you for free, it will help quite a bit in, especially to your very good customers, to say, you know what, I got this free of charge. He's buying this much. This is for you. And that's the intent. But obviously, if you guys have hardcore customers that really don't care about that, it's extra money in your pocket, and we're happy for you to have that as well. Now, I don't know if there are any questions. I saw, I think, one question in the Q&A. Is that true?
Yeah, there's two questions. The first one is from Hadrian, and they asked, do we know the time frame for the spin-off games? Do you have a kind of a release time frame for that?
Yes, in July, we're going to do the spin-offs for marketing reasons. We're going to be doing the first spin-off in July, and it's going to be Kickstarter, but it will have a retailer pledge, and we want to review how we manage it through distribution, because our intent is not to undercut our relationship with distributors nor our retailers. It's really the problem right now is that you're damned if you do a Kickstarter, you're damned if you don't. And it's a very good marketing material, but we're really keen on making sure that retailers get full benefit of it and our distributors are in the loop for it.
Great. And then the second question is more about the timing of the ambassador program. So Nicholas asks, when will the ambassador program actively start, or has it already?
We've already recruited 50. So it's already out there. We've already announced it. Actually, today we are reposting on our social media the announcement for it as a wave 2, so we can recruit even more. So right at this point, and Scott will share with you contact information. You'll be able to contact us and suggest either an employee of yours or a customer of yours as a vanguard.
Yeah, you can actually see there's the contact information is on the screen now. Down at the bottom of that flyer that is up on the screen, it says contact@parabellum.com. Is that the correct email for that, or would you?
It can go through there. We always forward it to Leo, who's our community manager and manages the vanguards. So contact@parabellum.com is usually a good blanket email. People forward it to the right person immediately.
Okay. And Nicholas is following up with his question. He says, let me rephrase my question. they already have an ambassador. So when are their activities in store supposed to start?
I would have to ask Leo what's happening with that specific Vanguard. Theoretically, they should have already started getting tournaments up or intro play events. If he wants to drop in the contact email the name of the Vanguard, we can follow up and see what the status is with that. Because in many cases, remember, these guys are volunteers. So he might have volunteered, but then had, you know, Thanksgiving coming up, family over, something happened at work. I really have to talk about the specific Vanguard, about whether he's active or not and how he's active. Because if he's not active, he's registered, but he's not active, he might not be the person you want to do it anyway.
Okay, so we'll make sure that you and Nicholas are able to get in contact with each other about it, and then or contact Leo about it, and then we can make sure that that gets followed up on.
Yes. The other thing which I can share with you guys since we're closing up is do go on our. We do a lot of content on Facebook, so please do go and follow our Facebook page. That's where we release a lot of material, actually a lot faster and on a daily basis compared to our website, because not everything is website worthy. And we use Facebook because we have a lot of written content, so it's quite difficult to do the same thing in Instagram or Twitter. And it's very difficult for us as a company right now to be as active as we need to be in Twitter. So that's one tool as well which you should use, because if you share everything we post, your own social media are going to be quite nicely populated. So it's always good following. And the other thing I would mention is that do go on YouTube. We have a lot of videos that we've released, the ones that you can also find in the retailer website. They're very good to introduce the game and the lore to your customer.
All right, excellent. Lots of great product, future plans, and good product in the market now. One of the features I really like about this is that the game not only services the player but also the hobbyist who just wants to paint miniatures. There's a lot of beautiful miniatures and a lot of expert sculpting, and the posability is a factor. It's great. The 2-player core starter is a tremendous value. I have this is the size of the box that you're getting in there, and it's chock full. I mean, this whole box is full of sprue. You can see this is up to the top. That's all sprue. That's none of that is cardboard filler or spacers or anything like that. It's just all. And then you've got the rule book, cards for the units, and some dice as well. So tremendous value for 2 players to get started in the game. Lots of expandability. The leaders are additional features in the game that add abilities. And then the army builder has also been launched, correct?
Yes, if we go to the website, it's a free army builder. It's a web app, so you do have to go online. It's something which we update regularly. And also in the expansion boxes, the cards contain a QR code, which means that people can go and scan the cards and take them immediately to where in the army builder they are. So there you go. So you can start adding and making your army. All the rules are there. We're not here to sell books, and we certainly don't want you to have any product that you have in store made obsolete because of an update.
Right, great. And then the cross compatibility between the mass army game as well as the board games or future other card games or whatever, however you end up formatting the additional products, the spin-off products as you call them, is an excellent plan for the future, where you've got compatibility across all those lines. So great work on that. You said the time frame for the first spin-off should be in July, and we're going to get you zip codes for the customers who've already purchased the product so that you can add those to your system there. How frequently will you be releasing organized play product?
Well, we're waiting to receive the initial organized play kit, which we have promised with the bundles that people purchased back in July. Unfortunately, the first batch that came in from China was horrible. We had to scrap it. We've ordered a second one. Half of it we had to scrap. So it's unfortunately one of the problems we have with China. But our intent is to have every quarter a new organized play kit with different content. This includes sleeve protectors, which have our art, which is a basic problem we have with transferring on card protectors. Deck boxes, metal coins, which people can redeem at events that we attend. They can get special edition miniatures by giving us back the coins. So they're kind of coming into the Para-Bellum shop and say, here's 3 metal coins, give me a special edition miniature for the con or whatever we are. And those actually, the coins are going to be participation prizes. So we want to make sure that participation is rewarded greatly. I see another question came up.
Yes, in the Q&A, the question is regarding the Kickstarter. For the Kickstarter, is the plan for the retailer pledge to be pay up front when the Kickstarter is successful, or a deposit with the rest being paid when the product is ready to ship? That's part one.
Okay. Okay, so California apparently has strict rules about these folks having an employee be the volunteer. These persons are already underemployed. But non-employees get into a career of working with sort of, okay, well, we can look into the California thing. Now, for the pledge, I'm not the person responsible for it, but we are collaborating with a company that's done quite a few Kickstarters in the past to run our Kickstarter, and I'm pretty sure they know about the deposit option. Because yes, obviously taking your money and then would be particularly hard. Well, we want to make sure that you guys have the best deal for it. So that's one of them as well.
Okay, so that's a determination to be made in the future or answered in the future. Sounds like.
Yeah.
Okay. Any additional questions? If a retailer has any questions, please feel free to drop those questions into the chat window, and that'll get you the fastest answer available. I don't see any questions now, so if there's other factors of the game you wanted to go into, maybe timing for the future releases.
Well, the things I can say is that next June we're releasing the Orcs, which is our 5th faction. Let me forward some photos to my computer because I have them all here. So the 5th faction is going to be the Orcs, which is our take on them. As always, it's our take of something. The Orcs in our game are actually more Aztec themed, so they're quite unique in that, and they also ride dinosaurs. So it looks pretty cool when you see the sketch of the dinosaurs. Obviously, though, they're quite odd looking at the same time because they have feathers. They're proper dinosaurs, and it looks quite well with the Aztec theme, let's say. Other than that, in October next year, or around Halloween, because that's the intent, we're going to be releasing the Undead. Now, okay, obviously it's a humorous choice to put it in during Undead during Halloween, but they're not going to be a funny faction. We just think it's better timed when you do it then. Let me show you now the. No, let's see. Did I get it? Let me show you some of the. There we go. Okay, there we go. Okay, it's not opening. Open. There we go. So this is a orc. We went for The background story for these guys is that they're noble savages. In all of the theme of the world of conquest, there's always the effect of the spires. The spires are one of the main factions, and they're ones that manipulate biomass. So actually, the mounts that these guys use are discarded experiments of the spires and a broken down spire, which is their habitat. As you can see, they're very much menacing looking. They have a human-like body, but very masculine, very muscular. And they're, as I said, they're the noble warrior, and actually one of the things that characterizes them is that they have extremely good hearing. And that's something we're play testing into the game, where they don't use the fog of war mechanic that the game has with cards activating, but you can actually play whatever you want because they can whisper orders to each other. But that's something which is in play testing because it might actually break the game if we overdo it. And then if I show you on our social media, for example, I'll be able to show you some art for the, let me go, let's go. Let's show you, there's some art for the, scroll down, sorry for the internet speed. There we go, no, we have some art regarding the, as you can see, there's a lot of content here. We do one post per day except for Saturday, where we do a Sunday hobby post. There we go. Now, if you see in this art piece, now starting from left to right, we have a concept art of the city-states, which is a steampunk faction. They have a lot of automata, which they actively using clockwork. They have war machines, and that's actually one of their basic troopers, how they're going to be looking like. So it's a Greco-Roman themed faction, which contains, we've even taken, crazy Da Vinci war machines combined with stuff from antiquity that they actually used. So it's a very unique faction aesthetically. The second from the left is actually a picture of an undead. This is more angelic, more Byzantine or Eastern Orthodox Church icons looking. So it's a very archaic looking faction with Romanesque warriors who are undead, who have this energy actually emanating from within them. Then the third from the left is another render of an orc warlord. So you can see what the skin color we're going for, what the headdress is going to look like. So they're going to be very bestial. And the one furthest to the right is actually a weaver. The weaver are our take on the wood elves, who are actually part of the alien race, which is the spires, which is one of the first two we've released. But they're the ones that decided we don't want to manipulate biomass as you do. We want to become one with the world. But for an alien becoming one with this world is something odd, even weirder than them just being aliens. So becoming one with the insects, meaning that they become an insectoid, or the fact that they are very defensive of their area, and if you step in, they can kill you for stepping on a blade of grass, or they initiate war depending on the season. So spring and summer, they extend out of their realm, and winter, they regress back into it. So there's a lot coming up in the next few years. You can see also in the bottom quite a few of the miniatures we haven't released yet, including the Avatara, the Centaur Avatara, the Crimson Spire, the Thames, the Assault Preceptor. There's so much that we have in the pipeline, and we believe that the more we are going to have out there, the more people are going to want to play this game and buy the miniatures and put them together and explore the world we've created.
Excellent. Yep. One of the things that I'm really impressed by is the planned out nature of the product line. There's a lot of intent in this, in what you're showing. There's a lot of retailer focus. The retailer support is great, from having a site specific to retailers to help them plan out how they're purchasing, how they're going to run the game, the ambassador program, the store finder, a genuine in-store OP program. Those are all things that retailers ask for in a game of this nature, where it's really something they want to bring people into their store. They want people excited about it. You've got the hobbyist as well as the player in mind. So it's a great total package, really a lot of excitement coming forth from this product line. There's not any additional questions, so I think you've answered everybody's questions. So if there's any last words you want to put out there, otherwise we can close it up.
No, just trust in us, because this is a matter of trust right now for you to invest your time and your money. But it's trust above all, and we're gonna take it where it needs to go. That's where we need your support to trust us from now. Build up the game, because the more we populate it, the more dynamic this will become, and hopefully we'll be able to create an additional focal point for the miniature market and for wargaming.
Excellent. Great. Yeah. So just a reminder for retailers attending the call, there's a special discount, 52% off on the Dwagom product lines, as well as those who are actually on the call right now will also receive the Dwagom Drill Master figure free. We'll get those from Para-Bellum and get those out to you. So give us a few weeks to get that all arranged and sent out. Otherwise, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you. We appreciate the partnership that we have both with Para-Bellum as well as with our retail partners. If there's anything you need regarding any of the product lines that I manage, whether it's the miniatures, role-playing games, or gaming accessories, please feel free to reach out. It's sbohr@gtsdistribution.com. And when this goes live on YouTube, that'll all be at the end. And then contact@parabellum.com is the contact information if you have questions about the ambassador program or the retailer site or the product in general. Yanni, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate your time. And I'll end it up there. Go have a great rest of your day. Enjoy the holiday season.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Scott, and thank you guys for being on the call. Oh, there's a question?
Yeah, one more question. It says, thank you so much. Great.
Okay.
All right. Have a great day, everyone.
Bye-bye.